Do you wish that you felt more confident speaking in English? Do you wish your English was more fluent? Would you love to supercharge your business English just by checking your phone from time to time? Well, if you want to increase your earning potential and boost your confidence at work, then you might be surprised to discover how effective my little and often approach is. In this episode, I share how I help you to really zone in on what to say and how to communicate at work to take your career to the next level. My personalised, flexible and motivational language learning activities could be your secret weapon to secure more career opportunities, one conversation at a time. The VIP WhatsApp Fluency Booster could be exactly what you need. Keep listening to get 3 bonuses that you will secure exclusive to my podcast listeners by 17th of October 2023. Welcome to the Experts Speak English podcast. Together we'll discover how to talk yourself into an international career without the bullshit. And at the end of each episode, I give you an opportunity to try out what you have just learned on the show, because I give you Coco's Communication Challenge. And that gives you an opportunity to get out there and try out one of the tools, techniques or tips that you will have heard on the show. I'm Corinne Wilhelm. I'm a corporate communication coach with over 20 years of experience of helping leaders to secure the career that they deserve through intentional communication, intercultural awareness and the confidence to show up as the English-speaking expert. So let's get cracking, shall we? Like it or not, English is the global language of business. Look at anybody in your office or industry whose career is impressive, and you will notice that they tend to be more confident or effective communicators. Effectively communicating in English is tough, but that doesn't mean that in today's competitive, dynamic, global business market, you can wing it. And no, nodding in agreement and keeping your head down does not make you a strong communicator, nor does it convince anybody that you understand what's going on. The problem with learning a language is that you don't see or hear results straight away. That makes it frustrating, and there's a ridiculously long lag between effort and performance. I wish it wasn't like that. I wish I could change it. But I cannot change the learning curve. What I can do is make that persistence and consistency stage easier and more enjoyable. That's my superpower. Let's help you to speak up about your superpower. So, as an experienced language learner myself, I know only too well the frustration of practicing, repeating, making notes, etc., with little or no impact, still forgetting the words, still struggling to understand, still feeling like everybody's talking at double or triple speed. There's little point, is there? And that is the darkest hour of language learning. Long before I started working as a communication coach and interculturalist, I worked as a business English trainer. I was an early adopter of WhatsApp back in 2015, initially for my VIP clients and my walk-in clients to bridge the fluency gap between our live sessions, whether that was outdoors or online. Initially it was just, text questions and a list of words. And my clients knew that those words were going to come up the next time. I was going to weave them into the conversation or find a way to get them to use the words. But even though it was so simple, it soon became an integral part of the programs because it was all about repetition and drawing your attention to what we'd already covered that week. And their enthusiasm and interaction inspired me to experiment and improve. And, I'm still trying things out now. It's easy to see which activities are more popular than others due to the time that it takes people to do them. So if as soon as I've posted it, I get lots and lots of quick replies, then I know, oh yeah, they like this. and which ones the people are really getting their teeth into. Clearly, not all of my clients like the same kind of exercise. And there are some clients, for example, that tell me that they really don't like the interactive crosswords, so I send them something else. I have others that love those interactive crosswords and do them straight away. I have clients that sit down to do them with their partner, their children, even their grandchildren. It can get quite competitive. To be honest, I am not a big fan of conventional pen and paper crosswords, because if you make one mistake, the whole thing's a mess and you're doomed for failure. However, if you're playing online, you immediately see when you've made a mistake because any wrong letters show up in red, so you can immediately correct yourself. You make progress faster because you know immediately where you've gone wrong. So actually, the Pareto principle of 80% to 20% is very evident. 20% of my clients are doing 80% of the tasks, whereas 80% do just 20% of the tasks, but that changes according to how much they have on their plates and how well I'm able to pull them in with appealing topics and tasks. I'm too performance orientated to let my clients just go missing and not show up. If I notice that they're distracted, I check in on them, make sure they're okay. It's about compassion and mental health initially, but once I have their attention, I use the opportunity to zone in on what's working and what's not. And actually, that's exactly what I did with Tim Spears. Okay, I know him through Toastmasters. He's a mechanical engineer, and I asked him, how's it going with the WhatsApp? What are you enjoying about it and what's not so good? And he said, well, I really enjoyed the diversity of your input and tasks, articles, crossword puzzles, inventing my own dialogues on a topic or set of words, jokes with English wordplay. Also, it was quite helpful. I could decide myself when to do the work. So you see, checking in with my clients is a natural part of the process, and I actually quite enjoy that. But that's what makes it individual, and that's what makes it work. It's a VIP program, so I have everybody's progress in mind, and I can change anything. I just need to know what's not appealing and what is. Now, my VIP WhatsApp Fluency Booster has one goal: to make it quick and easy for you to dip in and improve your business English. No additional meetings, no boring grammar homework, just the right communication for your career right now. No fluff. Contrary to most Brits, I have learned 5 languages for my career. I started my career in the UK as an equity analyst, and in this role I needed to analyse the share activities and financials of all of the companies listed on the stock exchanges in Finland, Sweden, Norway and Denmark. They were delighted to discover that I spoke Finnish, the most difficult of all 4 languages to learn, but it was up to me to get up to speed quickly on the other Nordic languages. They figured if I could learn Finnish, I could learn any language. Until then, they had been managed by a senior analyst that spoke none of these languages. As you can imagine, what I discovered once I started updating the share values and so on was that almost half of the data was either out of date, inaccurate or missing. I had to learn 3 languages at the same time on the job, so my language learning strategies had to be practical and efficient. I had no time to mess around. I had a job to do and a ticking time bomb of disastrous data waiting to be fixed or rescued. Now, when I was learning German and Finnish, those are my strongest languages, but also Swedish, Norwegian and Danish, I found time and time again that I stopped making progress if I didn't get enough feedback, motivation, and had nobody keeping me accountable. After all, it's easy to slack off if nobody knows what your goal is and what you're doing or should be doing to get there. I taught myself. It's possible, but it's slow and you pick up a lot of mistakes, unless you reach out for feedback. Now, I was in a rush to learn. I was already in the job. So I sought out support from kind humans who saw me struggling with pronunciation, grammar, and I'm a bit of a stickler for this, finding exactly the right word for the right situation. Now, I would have learned Finnish, an incredibly difficult language, a lot faster if I had been smart enough to reach out for a trainer or coach. To tell you the truth, Finland was horrendously expensive, so being on an Erasmus grant, I had to budget tightly. Fortunately, in terms of motivation, I hated being in that linguistic bubble so much that I was absolutely determined to crack the code to speak Finnish. It wasn't a matter of if, it was when. Now, by the middle of the first year, I was speaking Finnish all day without having to ask for too many words and had to think about how to say things in English sometimes. That's immersion. And my VIP WhatsApp booster is basically a digital immersion. Anytime, any place, anywhere. Your topics, your learning styles, your skill sets. I share literally all of my tips, tricks and techniques, and more importantly, I get you to try them out, even if they don't feel natural for you. So you might be asking yourself, well, my English is okay. Do I really need to improve my English? There's no denying it. Strong speakers of business English are an obvious candidate for interesting and international new projects, clients and opportunities. So it makes sense to strive for fluency rather than survival, doesn't it? Imposter syndrome creeps in if there's just a speck of doubt. But if you are going to English meetings and desperate for it to end, imposter syndrome is going to be crippling. Knowing exactly what is being said and being able to seamlessly switch into English and join the business conversation dramatically improves your confidence. And it's infectious, right? If you are confident in your abilities, other people will have faith in your abilities too. So maybe your English is good enough, but that kind of depends how ambitious you are, I guess. Most people coming to me say to me that they've been putting off improving their English for years. And when they come to me and they realise how easy it actually is with the right people in the right place at the right time, they're a little bit frustrated that they didn't do something about this earlier. Because it does open up opportunities. They see that very quickly. It gives you the opportunity to become the best that you can be. And I think deep down, we all want that, right? And since most of us are better at spending money than earning it, check this out. So studies have shown that those who are fluent in English earn higher salaries than their non-English speaking peers. A study by Cambridge English found that in non-English speaking countries, employees who were proficient in English earned a staggering 30 to 50% more on average. 90% of employers said that having strong English language skills is an important factor when hiring for positions that require international communication. So even a company that has yet to start exporting but are strategically planning to expand internationally will make sure that every newbie is able to speak and work in English. So they hire accordingly to accelerate that process. Finally, a LinkedIn survey revealed that English proficiency is one of the top skills that lead to promotions and career growth. And a lot of companies use a lack of English as a primary elimination criteria in the recruitment process. The bottom line is, if you don't want to hold yourself back, you need to push yourself forward linguistically. Now, you probably know that your English could be holding you back, but learning a language is hard. And like anything in life, whether it's losing weight, getting fit, or revising for an exam, it's always easier if you have someone on your side giving you the feedback, the motivation and accountability to keep you on track. And in my experience, a sense of humour makes it a lot more enjoyable and less like some kind of torture. Learning a language, contrary to our experience of learning English at school, can actually be a lot of fun. You'll find it easier to increase your knowledge and network as your fluency increases, making this a worthwhile and inspiring investment of your time. It's not just about learning a language. It's about setting you free to become the best that you can be, and that feels incredibly rewarding. And in terms of confidence, I was once working with a woman in engineering, and she was getting really quite confident in English now. And she had a boss who was really quite toxic and wasn't really supportive at all. And she was brilliant. It was a complete waste of talent, really. And so, you know what? She turned around to me one day and I just thought, yes. She said, I don't have to put up with this crap anymore. My English is so good now, I can get a job anywhere. And I just thought, wow, that's awesome. Get out of there, honey. You might be wondering how on earth you can improve your spoken English without actually speaking to a native speaker. Am I right? Well, the beauty of asynchronous learning is I can send you a voice message and you can send a voice message back. If we're online at the same time, that can really feel like a conversation. And if not, it's just like a staggered conversation. So by using the audio and video functions within WhatsApp, I can actually simulate conversation that way. There's actually a fairly new function within WhatsApp where you can change the microphone button to a video icon just by clicking on it. And then you can do a 1-minute video. And it pops up as a circle, so it's really easy to identify, oh, this is a little video. And my clients seem to love video, especially the round ones, because they know, oh, this is only going to be a minute, right? So it's actually really good for me to encourage you to be brief and concise and to the point. But also I can say, okay, great, that was really good. Now add some adjectives. Okay, that was really good. Do the same thing, another minute, and try to bring in more storytelling. And for my Ukrainian and German clients, they tend to come over really harsh, really direct. So I help them to soften the message in a way that makes them a lot more approachable. And so we can optimize and improve just by using this one very simple function. It's really good actually for practicing your elevator pitch. So that actually is Coco's communication challenge for today. Find yourself in your contacts in WhatsApp. You can send yourself a message and use this functionality to test yourself doing your elevator pitch. It's a minute, so you might have to plan it in advance with a few bullet points, but try it out. Give it a go and let me know how you get on. That is the great thing about WhatsApp. It's incredibly flexible and accessible. So the approaches and techniques depend on the learner's preferences. The most popular activities are my vocabulary games, grammar how-to videos, and my conversation challenges. I use a mix of text, graphics, and video so that wherever you are, you can take advantage of the latest boost by using the microphone icon, your earbuds whilst travelling or doing sport or reading an article. And it's my job to inspire you to engage in English. And of course, the more interactive and thought-provoking those tasks, the better. When I give you a task, I always encourage you to say the words and the sentences afterwards yourself. It's not enough just to write. I always get people to back up with an audio challenge. So clients love the convenience of learning via WhatsApp. By making this communication coaching accessible for busy professionals, you can literally learn anywhere. And if you don't have the time or headspace for it, just come back later. I'll nudge you if you forget, but I try to create something so inspiring that it's actually pretty irresistible. The WhatsApp Fluency Boosts are designed specifically for non-native speakers who never got enough practice actually speaking English at school. Or maybe it was a long time ago. In the meantime, you might well have been working in your own language, building a career, starting a family. And you know what they say, use it or lose it. Particularly the women in male-dominated industries really enjoy this approach because for many of them, being part-time or simply having to juggle the career with family life, having to dash off to be there in time for kindergarten or school, makes attending business English sessions at work kind of awkward or really difficult and complicated to juggle. They often refer to their VIP WhatsApp Fluency Booster as their secret weapon. Because nobody needs to know that you're working on your English, but they will notice a difference. Especially when you get promoted, headhunted, or get a pay rise. Most of my clients can read an article, no problem, or listen to a podcast like this, because it's passive, right? But when it comes to actually speaking, that's when brain freeze kicks in. You see, it's only when you're using a language regularly that you can remember the words that you need. So the priority is always speaking skills from 90% of my clients. So that's what we focus on first. And the second is listening skills. Many of my clients complain that they simply don't understand what's going on in meetings or training sessions, so much so that they wonder why they are even there. The reality is they are there because they are an expert, and in today's dynamic global business world, experts are expected to be able to speak English. Whether that's a reasonable explanation, given that many of my clients, for example, learned Russian or French at school, not English, is irrelevant. Expectations are what they are. And if you are hired for an international role, you'll be expected to speak in English. Listening is really key. I provide my clients with lots of listening exercises because this gives them confidence and vocabulary at the same time. It's like a double whammy. And it's this ability to listen to a lot of different accents that enables them to take part in any conversation. Listening skills are one of the language skills that often get neglected simply because it's easier to read. Because when you are reading, you have more time to think about the words. Or look it up if you need to. That's so easy now with all these fabulous online tools or even AI tools like DeepL. Easy peasy, right? Even within Kindle you can do that. That simply isn't the case in real-time conversation, so I expose my clients to just that. Now, in terms of my ability to learn Finnish in such a short time, I have to confess that being a deep listener was the most important skill here. That helped massively. And hands up, it wasn't a skill that I was very good at to start with. In fact, in my own language at that time, I was quite a chatterbox. There's not much time to listen when you're speaking all the time, is there? But this was a skill that I had to learn fast. The pronunciation in Finnish is nothing like in English, so you have to really concentrate on how the words are being said. And just to give you an example of how difficult it is, the way of saying good day isn't guten tag, which you could guess at. It's hyvää päivää. Okay, so when you're saying this, you have to not only do some kind of facial contortionist act to get your lips to do the right thing in a way that makes those sounds come out, which I can tell you isn't easy, but you really have to pay attention to where the stress is going in these words. Can you understand where I'm coming from? Listening was so important. And it was this skill that I learned to optimize, not just in terms of what was being said, but also what wasn't being said. Something that is very important in any culture, even your own. But if you're in a new culture, a culture that is so dramatically different to your own, you really have to learn to read between the lines and work out what isn't being said, what isn't being spoken out loud. It was this, I think, that shifted my attention towards communication skills training and intercultural communication. But more about that another time. It's feedback that drives improvement. Given that most of the sexiest projects are international, it's worth remembering that multinational companies often require employees to work in English-speaking projects or collaborate with global teams, making English proficiency crucial. So even if your office is in the country that you grew up in and your team are speaking your own language, you might feel very safe. But tomorrow, someone could join your team who is brilliant but cannot speak your language yet. In that situation, overnight, you would need to change your business language into English. Like that. Are you ready for that? Likewise, as happened to one of my clients, she was away on maternity leave and she came back to an Australian boss. She came back not only to new software, a sea of new faces, but to an immediate switch into English meetings, English emails, and English office dialogues. That was a shock to the system, and it made her doubt her self-worth. But we worked together for 3 months, and she was ready to show up as the professional that she was when she left for the family time. So having to activate your English in that high-pressure situation It's a lot more stressful than taking things into your own hands and having the time and headspace to work on your English before the shit hits the fan. Life's hectic enough. Why procrastinate any longer when there is an easy and enjoyable way to fill that knowledge gap right from your phone? Little and often. Laughter, links, and listening. Yes, it's work, but it's also rewarding. In contrast to commercial language learning apps, which are great, for example, to get you going, especially if you feel super self-conscious, right? So using something like Duolingo or Babbel, they are both a really good way to get you up and running with a language. However, when you need to really zone in and get exactly the right language for your particular job, your particular business situations, your particular conversations, then I think you need to take it up a notch. Your feedback from me, your native speaking trainer, is always highly individual to your mistakes and personal to your learning style. And I would like to think I've got a bit more personality than an app. I always have your personal learning goals in mind because this is critical for any type of learning, but particularly for language learning and the active development of corporate communication skills. So in order to provide you with personalised feedback, I limit the number of participants to 25. This means that I can create custom-made audio, video and of course text feedback, often with emojis and GIFs to make this a fun and insightful part of the programme. And just in case you're wondering, well, hang on a minute, Corinne, how come it takes me 25 minutes and yet you're spending 3 hours on it? That doesn't make sense, right? So the 3 hours is for the whole month, whereas your 25 minutes is per week. That adds up to 1 hour, 66 minutes per month. All you have to do is check your WhatsApp messages. Easy peasy. And what you need to remember is that when you're watching a video of, say, a minute or a minute and a half, that for me is a lot more time in terms of planning, creation, editing and so on. And that's why online learning is so time intensive for the creator. Sure, we don't have that headache of meetings, but it is a time factor that I need to factor in. On top of that, the individual feedback is really easy for you to read. But for me, I need to think very carefully about the wording. I want it to be crystal clear because this is asynchronous learning. So I need to make it really easy for you to understand. So I take great care to edit it properly so it's easy to process. I make sure that I try to give an example and so on. And these little things, they all add up in time too. When we first start working together, I deliberately focus on one thing at a time. And I intentionally give you kind and constructive feedback on that one thing for motivational reasons. It's a pedagogical decision. As your fluency increases and we get to know each other, I'll let you get away with less because we'll have covered the bases by now. And you'll notice my sense of humour creeping into the feedback because cheeky feedback is more memorable. I create a safe space for you to try things out, encouraging you to use the audio and video functions more and more. And that's when fluency takes off. You'll have mistakes that you have been repeating for years, ever since school. So these can be a little stubborn to eradicate. But I find that with videos, visuals and audio, I can really kind of zone in on more than one of your senses at once. So you're not only listening and seeing, but you're also kind of getting a real feel for the language. And that I find tends to work really well. But of course, it's not enough just to tell you where you're going wrong. I need to really give you an opportunity to practice what you've just learnt from me. So we use a lot of repetition, but it's relevant to how you would use that word or sentence or question. I try to make it really make sense for you by putting it into dialogues, using it in an audio, then putting it into a video, then getting you to write about it. It's this real kind of playfulness around the language that helps you to fix it in your brain, if you like. Interestingly, these are often basic mistakes that are fairly easy to fix, but because they have been ingrained in your brain the wrong way, it takes time a great reason to use humour to my advantage. Motivation to stay on track. The magic happens when creative learning content is delivered and evaluated with genuine motivation. I am a bundle of energy and enthusiasm, so this is the part that I find really easy as a coach and trainer, and this makes for a much more enjoyable learning journey. My WhatsApp boosts are not predictable or dull. I do everything I can to keep my participants engaged and motivated with a range of activities and learning styles. It doesn't look the same, it doesn't sound the same, it's always a little bit different. So it's this range of challenges that keeps my experts on track. Even when they are tight for time or don't have the headspace, I'll lure you back in with something quick and easy that is too interesting, too relevant, too cool to ignore. Videos help me a lot with that. But really it just depends who you are, what you're interested in. I'll know how to pick you up. Now, having boosted software developers, engineers, lawyers, politicians and scientists, what I hear time and time again is that it's fun and nothing like school. I think this is due to the fact that this is not a standardized system. So if one of you is coming up for a job interview, a performance review or a pay negotiation, I'll zone in on that. I need to know my participants to be able to maintain that level of support. And, to be honest, these VIPs for me are indeed very important people, and they get my attention within minutes or hours. Industry-specific language learning activities, articles and other challenges are what help to maintain the level of commitment that drives performance and fluency. Now, nearly everything I do is based around conversation because I think it's really important that you're not just learning the words and the grammar, like the mechanics of the language, but you're able to kind of run with the language straight out of the gate. So the idea is that you can use what you're learning immediately in your career. I ask lots of questions at the start so that I can create materials about topics that are interesting and relevant to you. That's what makes it easy. It's not the level that is easy. To the contrary, what we're talking about might actually be quite complex, quite diplomatic, quite sensitive. So that's not the easy part. It's the accessibility. It's the fact that it's enjoyable to do. It's the fact that it's interesting for you, that it's relevant. That's what's making it easy. Asynchronous learning means that we can both be focusing on the program at different times. I tend to be a morning person, so often my clients won't even look at my messages until the afternoon. That's absolutely fine. I have one client that always sends it back just after midnight. I never have notifications on, so you can do that and it doesn't bother me at all. Others wait until the afternoon once the production line is in full flow again and the staff shortages have been resolved, for example. I never expect you to reply immediately. It's there for you when you need it. It's like being in your favourite cafe. You can check in when the time is right for you. Each individual does their task when they have a few moments or need a break from what they are doing. Each VIP can check out their booths at a different time that works for them. Some do it whilst they are walking their dog. Others listen to the longer audios in the gym or when waiting for the kids to come out from judo. Even though I travel a lot, you won't notice because I store everything that I create in advance for you in Trello. And if I am travelling and you suddenly get the great news that you've been invited to an interview, I can create unique materials specific to your industry for that interview on the go. I've got everything in my phone and everything is really easy to do from there. So all the more reason to tell me exactly what's going on, because then I can create materials around events and challenges in your career. The booths are consistently frequent even if I have a speaking gig elsewhere or am travelling. So you never need to apologise for not doing the task, but people apologise anyway if they're enjoying the programme and they want to get the maximum out of it. There's nothing bog standard about this. It's not scalable, it's special. It also happens to be where all my business English clients will be from 2024 onwards, when I will be focusing on my club. The membership club will focus on 3 elements: business English, communication, and intercultural awareness. And everything will be in the same place, and there'll be lots of opportunities to practice, engage, learn, and of course, improve your career and boost your confidence. That will be the only place that you will be able to work with me on your business English, with the exception of 2 corporate clients. That's why I'm introducing a group call to the program to help the VIPs to practice two-way conversations, dialogues, and even some of the communication basics like conflict management, negotiations, and presentations. So, accountability for consistent progress. It would be easy to leave it up to the participants to take part or not. I've got their money anyway, right? But you know what? I'm really excited by seeing you grab the opportunities at the end of the Fluency Rainbow. And to make that happen, I need to keep you on track with cartoons, jokes, videos, whatever will pull you back into performance fastest when life gets busy. That's normal. And I'm there to pick you up and keep you on track. At the start of the program, clients mostly just want to activate their English. They feel embarrassed that they cannot join the conversation, and it's this spoken, broken English that takes priority, using the microphone and camera icons in WhatsApp. As fluency kicks in, though, I start teaching more and more communication skills and sensitizing participants about intercultural issues. It's a natural progression that boosts their confidence, one conversation at a time. If you are looking for a tailor-made approach without the logistics of time-consuming real-time meetings, and you know that you would benefit from upbeat native speaker feedback, plenty of motivation, and that all-important accountability, you'll need to think outside the box. Regular lessons will not help you progress in isolation. They might prevent your language skills from going rusty, but you will not improve unless you are doing at least an hour on your own in between those sessions. So my advice is to invest in a program in terms of time and money that you will be inspired to keep practicing in English, experimenting in English, refining your skills in English, even on days when you are exhausted or just can't face it. The program you choose has not only to be 100% relevant, but also inspiring and accessible, with a variety of activities and different formats to really keep things fresh. If this sounds logical for you, then the VIP WhatsApp Fluency Booster program will get you to the career and communication goals faster than trying to inspire yourself. Let's face it, you're busy. Save your energy for the learning that will make a difference in your career. In just 3 months, you will notice a considerable difference in your spoken fluency and confidence. So the sooner you start, the sooner you can reap the rewards of this inspiring program. Your investment is just €49 a month. In terms of time, you need to invest about 25 minutes a week, I'd say. My investment is about 3 hours per month per person for the creation and evaluation of your tasks. So at my usual rate of €150 an hour, this would come to €450. So actually, you're really getting a bargain at 45. So grab one of the 25 places today before they go, because so far, nobody has stopped their subscription. And incidentally, the price will go up to $75 in January. So if you genuinely want to earn more, experience more, learn more, then do not put this off any longer. Now is the time to invest in your business English skills. This doesn't get easier as you get older. As a WhatsApp Fluency Booster VIP, you will soon see that it's an absolute game changer for professionals like yourself who are keen to focus on their careers and self-confidence. No matter what age you are, this approach works. My current VIPs are between 45 and 65. To motivate you to take that all-important first step toward language mastery and career success, I will give you 3 bonuses if you subscribe before Tuesday the 17th of October 2023. First of all, you'll get a free mental health audit and action plan from a mental health practitioner. Her name is Karina Senna Entwistle, and she speaks both languages perfectly, so you can do your audit with her and get those tips in both languages. Easy peasy. So on top of your mental health audit, which is very advisable for anybody, you will also get an online course including 3 modules: Business English Refresher, Communication, and intercultural insights and diversity techniques. And the third bonus, unfortunately, is limited to people in the European Union, because I'm going to send you a very individualized language learning package. And I warn you, I love books and I love beautiful stationery. So I will send you something special. I'm not going to tell you what's going in there, to your home if you live in the European Union. So that's all you do. Click on the link in the show notes and nab yourself a place before they go. Remember that this is limited to 25 VIPs. So if you're looking for a present for somebody for Christmas and you don't know what to get them, but you want something practical and something that will make them feel amazing about themselves, then this could well be a really good idea for a Christmas present. There are only 25 places, and from next year it's going to go up to €75 a month. So feel free to dive in now and secure your spot. Now, if you're new to my podcast, this is one of the very few podcasts where I actually sell something that I'm working on. I'm excited about it because for the last 3 weeks from different people, I've experienced some really very cool breakthroughs. So those people are really beginning to feel the benefit of this. And that, of course, is super inspiring. So do join me next time when I talk about humility in leadership, with Dr. Franziska Frank. But I do hope that you've enjoyed these little insights, and I hope that you feel inspired to take action. You can, of course, do all of this on your own. You don't need to do it with me. But, of course, I would love to welcome you into our sphere of VIPs. So have a fantastic week and be the very best communicator that you can be. You've been listening to Corinne Wilhelm from Experts Speak English, brought to you by EnglishSpeakingExperts.com. Goodbye for now.